Hello, castaways, survivors, people of CBS, and all the like, I guess. Welcome to The Low Tide, where today we are recapping Survivor Season 4, D4, Episode 3. My name is Matt, and today joining us on the podcast is... Today we have no guests, but that is because we are trying out a new format. If you do like the old format of the podcast versions, like in episodes 1 and 2 when we sat down with Tricky Rice and Josh Mims, that podcast still does exist and is on Spotify, probably Apple Podcasts, but it's linked in the description down below. It's called The Knock at Death's Door, and today joining me will be my squirrel friend, Stefania Moran. So go down there, check that out. We will also be recapping Survivor over there, talking about it and our feelings, but this will be more of a formal episode. Let me talk to the camera. Let me talk to you guys. Because, we got this thing going on, and I don't know. If this were Stardew Valley, I would get you a golden pumpkin. I'm just saying. But before you do anything else, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I'm not going to tell you anything else to do because, you know what to do. And I hate people who are like, oh, I'm going to waste an hour of your time telling you to subscribe to my channel. And I've probably already done that by now. It's just my rambling, but So, to start off, let's ask an important question. Fallout of Tribal Council. How do you escape from the fallout if you were in the bottom? And that is certainly what Sarah is feeling after having been left out of the last vote. Sure, she didn't have a vote, but certainly she was going to vote with her friend Helen, who was sadly evicted. And when I say sadly, I mean sadly. She was a preseason pick for a lot of people, and to be a second boot is very sad, very scary, very how's the rest of the season gonna go? And especially after today, I'm a little bit more terrified. So as we come back to Tribal Council, we find out that Carolyn, Jam Jam, and Carson have all voted out Maddie. Sarah, who didn't have a vote but was friends with Helen, was sadly left out, and now she is trying to work her way back up on the totem pole on the purple tribe. And Carson tries to smooth things over with her. He goes to her and is like, hey, I got you. You're doing great. But she sees right past that. She knows he's trying to play both sides. So, what will that mean for the inevitable feud, I guess, if you will, between Carson and Sarah? We will just have to find out, but not this episode. Overall, I think Sarah does a very great job in figuring out where she is on the totem pole in this situation. It's not really that hard to tell considering she was just left out of a vote, but to be able to understand what Carson is trying to do to her and pick that up is a very, very good sign of a strong castaway. So we will just have to see what Sarah brings to the table, especially because she has an advantage. The inheritance advantage. You never know with what Survivor's doing nowadays what anyone has, but it's whatever. But we'll just have to see how that works to come. In the meantime, idols, and even fake idols. We have Danny on green Soka, who found his idol in the birdcage last episode with the key, making a very, very sneaky decision to reopen the cage, put the fake idol in, and to lock the bag back inside. This works. I was very scared, and I was wondering myself, would I do something like that? Very bold move, and I don't know if I'd be able to do it unless I had the certainty that I would be able to get away with it, which he does. They all go on a key finding spree, and Matt is the one who finds the key planted by Danny, and he finds a fake idol in the birdcage, believing that it is real because of how Danny set it up. Very, very strong play from Danny here. Very, very good. I will say I have seen a lot of complaints online about this fake idol and this twist about how it takes away some agency and some control from the players, that they have this false sense of security, and it's a very strong advantage, an idol in general, to have but not have. because suddenly the way you are playing the game is completely changed, and for no reason at all. So I do understand these complaints, but overall I think this is going to be a very fun twist to see how it goes. I know a lot of other people were also complaining about this clown edit for Jamie and Matt, who have received the fake idols in this episode, and how they look stupid for finding something that just seems legitimate. But I think it will work, and I think it's going to be fun TV nonetheless. Fair? It's good TV, and we can say that. Danny, obviously, like I said, just steals the spotlight in this moment, absolutely controlling the idol game on the Green Tribe, and being very in control of the tribe in general. And what's even weirder is that no one seems to see it, as we see when we go to Tribal Council later. But next up, as I have already said, we go to the Orange Tribe, Ratu, where Kane is singing the Canadian National Anthem. Oh, Canada. Great singing, and as Marianne Oketch, our season 42 winner, has stated on Twitter, it's good to see some Canadian representation actually represented in the show besides just a person. So, of course, we gotta dwindle it down to being a Canadian national anthem, but it's cool. While this is all going on, though, and there's also worm eating, honestly, let's give Jamie some props for just being carefree and adventurous. And as she says in this episode, because she is the one who encourages everyone to eat the worms, she is the plant lady, and Matt on the Orange Tribe is the plant daddy. The two of them are working together, and are they working together? We'll just have to find out, because on a trip to the water well, Jamie randomly searches, and she finds an idol, the one that was replaced by Brandon after he used it at the very first Tribal Council of the season. So Jamie's all excited, but then in a plot twist, we find out that Orange Matt has in fact been the one to receive the real idol. It was another real idol with a fake idol in clothes. He took the real one, hid it, and then led Jamie to it at the water well. A very good play, but I don't know if this one is as good as Danny's was, because while it is hidden, Jamie is an ally to Matt, and though he considers that this could be used to throw her under the bus in the future, it's just kind of a weird move to put one of your allies into a different headspace to play a certain way. Again, in the future, it may have a bigger impact, and it's a really long game play. But right now, for any adversaries you may have on the tribe, which, for granted, Matt has very few, it does seem very strange to want to put an ally into a position that could potentially harm them down the line. But I rest my case. I still think it's a very good play, and we get to see more of this drama sometime down the line. Idols aside, worms aside, post-tribal council stuff aside, and just all of this backstory, which honestly I think I wrote down, but I forgot my notebook at work today when I was trying to take notes. All of that aside, we go to our immunity competition, where we find out that Claire is going to be sitting out for her third immunity competition. A very, very interesting decision, as I like to say, interesting, on Claire's part, being the third time to sit out. We know in Survivor 40, Winners at War, when Sandra sat out a million times, it became the Sandra sit out bench. And that will forever be its name in my heart. So Claire sits on the Sandra sit-out bench for the third time, and as we will see later, we don't know if this will actually be a good decision. Was this decision on her part, or was it the tribe's decision overall? We will never know because of editing, but you know, maybe someone who played the season will break their NDA and say something? No? Okay. Figured. But alas, we see the tribes go out in grand fashion to a normal, a normal Survivor comp, roll the block in the ocean, grab the key, and then get to land, dig under a log, and then unlock your puzzle pieces. And then it was the big log of 4 cubes, where on each side of the 4 sides, not the top or bottom, the colors have to be different on all of the 4 cubes stacked on top of each other. So we see a very, very fun competition. This has always been one of my favorite challenges, mostly because I do Rubik's Cubes a lot. I have a quick cube just sitting there. I think Jam Jam has a very good charisma modifier, if you will, in this game of Survivor, and probably in real life too. It's very fun seeing him on our TVs as he narrates himself doing what he's doing in the competition. And eventually we see Ratu, the Orange Tribe, get the victory, getting their puzzle done first, and then it comes down to Soka, green, and Tika, purple. I still can't get those tribe names down. I'm trying, I swear. As it comes down to the 2 of them, they decide, let's make a little look. Let's look at what the winning tribe did, Ratu. See, I can remember names. Let's give a little look at what they did, which in this competition, I don't think that's necessarily the best idea, because it's very delicate what you play with. The blocks that you see in the middle and the top, you might not necessarily be able to know what block that is in comparison to the blocks you're using. I think with this challenge, what a lot of people don't realize is that it is much more difficult than it looks. It's not just, oh, let's stack and then figure it out. Because it is true, any block can be on the top, any block can be on the bottom. It does not matter what block is in what order. You can just stack them and start rotating. Except for the bottom one, which is like locked. What is easy is that there will be no repeating colors on any side, so you will know what the tops and bottoms are, so you just have to stack them and then rotate. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. There's a lot of like, which way do you flip? There's a lot to consider in a situation like that. But as we see, Soka, we can just say Soka loses, because Tika is the one to figure it out, completing the puzzle second and becoming safe for tonight. That leaves Soka going to Tribal Council, the 6 of them doing their darndest. I don't know. As we see quickly when we get back to camp, Claire's in the hot seat for him not doing much in challenges, and like I said, we don't really know if this is her doing or not, but sitting out certainly in the game of Survivor on team-based competitions may not be so good for your early game, if you will. Everyone seems to underestimate Danny because, and like I'll never forget, we saw last week he did the floss to celebrate, which, proud of him. Good for him, that was fun. But everyone seems to just think he's a goofball, even though he's easily the player who has been managing his early game the best on the Soka tribe, and arguably in the game overall. He set himself up into a very great position and has an advantage to boot. Danny and Josh are working together, and with the 2 of them deciding to vote for Claire, and with Claire and Franny deciding that they would like to get rid of Josh, it all comes down to Helen in the middle, trying to figure out which way should she slide. She trusts Danny, but she understands that maybe making a big move is the smart one to make. Or at least that's what the edit tells us, because as we see with the votes once we come to Tribal Council, it probably looks like it was a clear and easy decision for a big chunk of the tribe. Once we get to Tribal Council, we know that Matt has lost his vote because of his journey to the Island of Advantages. I really wish they'd give us a name for that. And it just comes down to the 5 of them. Claire does a very, very good job in this Tribal Council trying to plead her case. Trying to plead that she hasn't been able to show what she's got because she's always had to sit out. And that decision wasn't necessarily always hers. It was for the betterment of the tribe, and she trusts herself in competitions. She just hasn't been able to show that. I forget who did it, but someone was like, yeah, I bet you could show your own. I definitely think that Claire steals the spotlight in this Tribal Council, hands down, doing a great job trying to defend her case. But ultimately, in the end, She knows that her time is up, especially when she asks Helen if she has changed the way that she is going to sway, to which she has said no. This leads her to conclude that she must play her shot in the dark, and after Jeff unveils the scroll, says, "Not safe." And as we see in that urn are 4 votes with Claire's name on it, meaning that she is the third person voted out of Survivor Season 44. A very, very tragic loss, especially another favorite preseason pick for a lot of people on the internet, including myself. She wasn't my winner pick, but I thought she'd go far. And Claire, if you're watching this, I really thought that you were going to do a great job. And I want to commend you for doing such a good job at Tribal Council. I think you have a very good strategic brain, and that's why you are one of my favorites going into the season. Overall, though, I do believe that the tribe made the correct decision because, let's face it, besides sitting out of competitions being a big factor, if you are defending yourself that well, who knows what you're going to say down the line to be able to convince people to go your way. If you sound that convincing, you're putting a bigger threat on your back. And if I'm already writing your name down, I have a bigger reason to do so. Not that Claire should have just sat there and been like, well, you see, no, coming out with that smart defense was the best option, even though the chances of it saving herself weren't the best. Claire made a good decision not trying to act dumb and like a number and stuff. She tried her best with her smartest defense, and that's all you can really do in a situation like that when your back is against the wall going into Tribal. So props to her, props to Claire, and thank you for being on this season and for allowing me to cover, and this goes for all of the players, for sticking with me and all of the fans who are watching this. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So, like I said, Claire goes home, and overall, I do believe that this is the best decision for the tribe. And by the way, going forward, at the end of every episode, I am going to be going over who is my most valuable castaway for the episode, and tell you who my winner pick is for the season as of this episode. So, the MVC, the most valuable castaway of episode 3, goes to Danny for putting himself into a very great position, being able to control the vote against Claire, for being able to get a fake idol into someone's hands without them knowing. And although Matt does the same thing on his tribe, I've already aired what I've had to say about giving a fake idol to someone who is an ally in the game. Still a great play, but I think because of the control that Danny has shown in this episode, he is very deserving of this most valuable castaway award for episode 3, especially having the most confessional counts, as I will flash on your screen, with 5 this episode. My winner pick after this episode, as it has been episodes 1 and 2, is still Danny. I think he has a great opportunity to win this game. He has set himself up perfectly, and it's just a matter of getting himself forward and pushing himself in the line that he has set up for him. But of course, this is Survivor, so we'll never know. And lastly, I asked my patrons to vote similarly and tell me what they thought, and they said nothing, because I've just relaunched my Patreon and we don't have any patrons. So if you would like to be a part of this little vote at the end of the episode and provide commentary that I will read aloud during my episodes, you can go to the Patreon link down below in the description and sign up at a $3 Gremlin tier, a $6 something tier, and so on. You'll get a bunch of different perks depending on what tier you go into, especially with our Gargoyle tier. We have a Minecraft server that I will be playing on. So I recommend you get in there and you can join the Death Discord, or the Discord of Death, if you will, at any tier that you choose to patron to. With that being said, this has been The Low Tide, Season 44, Episode 3. You can watch Survivor anytime that you want on Paramount Plus or CBS, Wednesdays at 8, 7 Central. I will be back next Monday, for episode 4 of Survivor. Thank you, castaways, people, survivors, whatever you want me to call you, I don't know. Gremlins, killers, victims. For my brand, that might be good. That might be good. But in the meantime, this has been Death. Goodbye.